We welcome in Richard Oliver. You've seen him all over our airways, also on Spurs broadcasts. But Richard, now with us to talk a little bit more about the silver and black, and then I want to ask a few questions about the Alliance of American Football. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I got through Thanksgiving okay, so let's do this.
How would you assess the Spurs four-game road trip?
Well, listen, there's wins in there, and that's all they can count on these days is just to try to tread water while they try to find their identity. I'm one of these stubborn old cusses who kind of thinks the Spurs are a team that might be a team to be reckoned with in the Western Conference as we move forward. They're starting to find some things that we've all been waiting on to see on the court, and I kind of like it.
I think they need that right now, some positive vibes going their way. What challenges have you continued to see on their defense? Well,
I think one of the things that the Spurs have really kind of run up against early on is what a lot of teams have run up against is the new NBA rules changes. At the same time that the Spurs are trying to introduce a new bunch of players into this system. I think that it's been a kind of a lethal combination in the early going. The Spurs have had some bad breaks as well. There's no doubt about that. But that defense has gotten a little bit better. They're from last in the league to 22nd in the league, and you kind of move up incrementally, as we were talking off camera. As good as that Spurs offense is, if they could just incrementally get better on defense, right, I really think they could wreak some havoc.
Well, they're now returning home tomorrow. 8 of their next 10 games are at home. How much do you think that's going to benefit this team?
I think it's going to benefit them tremendously. It's been kind of a weird deal from a couple of years ago when the Spurs were those road warriors all the time. The last couple of seasons, they haven't done all that well on the road. So being at home where the Spurs are playing very well, and especially LaMarcus Aldridge, for some reason he really likes the home court this season in particular. I think it's going to be a big benefit. And you look at that schedule, home and home against LeBron and the Lakers. You look at the Trailblazers coming in. They've been such a wrecking ball for the Western Conference this year. And also, of course, the Clippers, which is the team that kind of surprised everybody. They're at the top of the standings with Golden State.
Right. You mentioned LaMarcus Aldridge. How do you really evaluate his performance on this team so far this season?
Well, I think it's pretty easy. He scores 20 or more, the Spurs win.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it. They had one win, through the first quarter of the season when he didn't score 20. He is an important cog, particularly on offense. Now, I will agree with Greg Popovich on one thing, is that he is working. I mean, he's out there. He's being a plow horse for the Spurs, especially on defense. But they've got to get him going on offense because it's simple. Statistically, everything shows when he scores, they win. And that's been a problem for him in the early going.
Hey, I want to switch it up a little bit because earlier this week, the Alliance of American Football held their quarterback draft. How much do you think that's going to bring to the city of San Antonio?
Well, I'm glad they got a South Texas kid who stayed in there, Dustin Vaughn at quarterback. That's going to be a lot of fun. I kind of wanted Trevor Knight to stay, though.
I know, I was surprised.
As an Aggie, I love that guy, obviously, but also he's just such a good ambassador for any franchise he's with, so that kind of surprised me. But I'm looking forward to this. I like this league. I like the makeup of it. I like their mentality in building a roster. I'm really looking forward to seeing this happen in February.
With all the local ties, not only for just the Commanders, how much do you think that's going to help build the audience in this first year?
I think it'll build it tremendously. When you look at that roster and you say, oh, I recognized Shad Mabry, who played football with my son at MacArthur, and some of these other guys who are from San Antonio or from the area, played at Texas State and some of these other places. I think people like that. I think they like to see these guys fighting to try to reach their dreams, and to be able to do it at the Alamo Dome in a pro setting is going to be really, really unique for San Antonio.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Richard, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yeah, my pleasure.